first off, thanks for joining. We will be getting ready to live stream as well. You probably just got that notification. Additionally, I have dropped the Zoom background into the chat. If you would like to add that to your background, it is the background from our part 1, since we are part 2 of our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. So feel free to join us in that way if you'd like with the background. Additionally, I just have a couple of quick things as we get started. First, again, thank you for joining us this Friday afternoon. As we get started, I do want to acknowledge that since the last weekend, there's been a lot of conversations on this campus about race and actions for change. And it's really important that that effort is recognized, both in the parts of the students who are advocating for themselves and for those who dedicate their time and energy into making this campus a space for students to belong and feel safe. I wouldn't be doing justice to the students or the work being done here if I didn't mention to all of you that I see you. Students, thank you for sharing your voice. Administrators, faculty, and staff on campus, thank you for your efforts to support the students. I do hope that as conversations continue between all parties on campus, that actions and outcomes will ensue. That, like the theme of seeding a healed future as part of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, that we as a campus come together to sow the seeds and be the seeds for the future. So again, I want to say thank you for everyone who has been in conversation, and I hope to encourage more critical reflection, action, and changes that can help make our campus one where students thrive. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledged and said something today, because this is really about the legacy also of Dr. Martin Luther King. So I wanted to ensure that I said something today. So again, thank you everyone for giving me a chance also to share some of my thoughts. As we continue this program, I also want to share a couple of kind of quick logistics things before I pass the mic to our host this afternoon. One thing is we are streaming this via YouTube. It is on speaker view. However, should you all leave your camera on, you do have a chance of being seen. We do ask that you keep your mics on mute, although there will be opportunities later to unmute for celebratory purposes. So I do hope you listen for those cues and join us in celebration at those times. Additionally, if you missed part 1 of our program of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, where we had remarks last week, we have posted that. You can check that out on YouTube. And we also encourage you to interact with one another as you would like in the Zoom chat, to offer comments, support, exchange as you would like as well. And so with that, again, I'll continually share the background periodically to ensure you have it if you would like. And we'll share some links throughout the process in the chat as well. And again, feel free to engage that way. And with that, I would like to formally begin our program and pass the floor to Julia.
Good afternoon and welcome to the SIUE Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Awards Ceremony. I'm Julia Gorin. I'm a senior studying sociology with a women's studies minor, and I currently serve as the student diversity officer for the student government. It's really wonderful to see you all here today. Thank you for being here. This year, we separated the traditional Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. luncheon into 2 virtual celebrations. Part 1 took place last Tuesday, January 19th, and included opening remarks from our Chancellor, Dr. Pembroke, a keynote address from Rebecca Bennett, founder and principal of Emerging Wisdom and its subsidiary Empower Institute, musical selection by Malik Good with accompanying video by Chinedu Obwekwe, followed by closing remarks from our SIU System Vice President for Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Sheila Caldwell. It was truly an inspiring event. If you missed it, you can view it on the Hub's YouTube channel mentioned earlier, and that link will be dropped into the chat now. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Planning Committee. Many people have dedicated time to ensure that this program, as well as our award ceremony program, is a success. So I ask all in attendance to offer up emojis in celebration at this time for our committee members whose names are being shared via the chat. We would like to thank you for your service, and I would like to do a special acknowledgement to our awards selection subcommittee chairs, Dr. Erlene Patterson, Dr. Kimberly Carter, and Dr. Jerica Ampadu, who led their subcommittees in reviewing the materials leading to the selections we will celebrate here today. It's also important to acknowledge that events like this wouldn't occur without the support of many members of the senior leadership across campus and the SIU system. At this time, I would like to thank you for continually supporting the Hub and our work, some of which are here with us today. Dr. Dan Mahoney, President of the SIU System, Dr. Sheila Caldwell, SIU System Vice President for Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Randy Pembroke, SIUE Chancellor, Dr. Jessica Harris, Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Jeffrey Waple, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. Denise Cobb, Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Rachel Stack, CEO of the SIUE Foundation and Vice Chancellor for University Advancement, and many of the deans of the schools and colleges we see you supporting us. Thank you for your dedication to anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion work. It means a lot to the campus and the community. Today, we continue contemplating our theme, Seeding the Healed Future. Our keynote last Wednesday encouraged us to consider not only what futures we are seeding and weeding, but also to consider that we ourselves are the seeds of the healed future. And today we will be recognizing and celebrating some of those seeds of the future. We have a program for you that includes remarks from several special guests, the awarding of our 2022 recipients of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Awards, and musical selections from our SIUE Gospel Choir. This is going to be a great program, so let's get this started. We are very excited to grant the awards today, and we would like to open with some welcome remarks from our SIU System President, Dr. Dan Mahoney. Having worked in higher education for over 25 years, President Mahoney has served in several roles, from professor to president. He is a respected consultative leader who has demonstrated the ability to bring a community together around shared goals, which is why he was chosen to be the 10th president of Southern Illinois University beginning in March 2020. He has continued to show his commitment to justice, equity, diversity, inclusion in the decisions he makes for the SIU system, and he continually supports the programs offered by the Inclusive Excellence Education and Development Hub. We are grateful for President Mahoney being a partner in the continuous push for changed future within our institutions, and we are glad to have him here with us today. Please join me in inviting President Mahoney to offer welcoming remarks.
Well, thank you, Julie, and hello to everybody, and I'm happy to be joining you today. I do apologize for my video being off. I'm actually in a parking lot, pulled over, going from meeting to meeting, but I did want to be part of this. I think every opportunity we have to celebrate Dr. King is important, and I was unable to attend a live event last week because I was teaching class at the time, so I wanted to be part of this ceremony. You know, Dr. King had a significant impact on our country and the world during the time in which he lived, but I think he continues to have an impact as we study his words and his actions. And I think sometimes those are misinterpreted. So I think taking the opportunity to reflect on what he did believe in and what he actually did do is important. While I missed the event last week, I know our speaker, Rebecca Bennett, offered a lot for this community to contemplate. She talked about the vision of Dr. King persisting over time. And because we've experienced change, and this change has helped us believe that we can achieve his dream. And we can achieve this dream she talked about with an intentional community. And she mentioned that we can even see some of that intentional community coming to life at SIUE and in the SIU system now. And I do hope that you can see some of that movement. And whether you can or you can't, I hope you're taking this opportunity to ask yourself what role you can play in an intentional community and how you can work with others in order to make our campus and our system more just, more fair, and more equitable. We need as many people involved as possible. And I say thank you to those within the SIU system who have already begun and continue to commit yourselves to this community and a better future. And that I know you work towards this with unfailing dedication, perseverance, and immense care. This commitment to the future is what I hope we all consider as we have the opportunity today to celebrate our award winners who have demonstrated their commitment to an intentional and greater SIU community. So thank you again for the opportunity to welcome you to this event, and I look forward to today's program.
Thank you so much, President Mahoney, for those words and for joining us. It's definitely some food for thought as we begin here. Now I have the opportunity to introduce our next speaker for additional remarks, the Chancellor of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, Dr. Randy Pembroke. Now, if you were here for our celebration event last week, then some of this introduction information is going to sound pretty familiar, but it isn't any less accurate, so we will be sharing it again. Chancellor Pembroke became the 9th Chancellor at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville on August 1st, 2016, and will soon be retiring from his role. He is an alum of the university, and in the last couple of years, Chancellor Pembroke has reaffirmed the campus dedication to anti-racism, equity, and inclusion work by forming the Anti-Racism Task Force, hiring SIUE's inaugural Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and supporting continued change on campus. That change allows for SIUE to move forward in creating more equitable spaces and opportunities for faculty, staff, and students on campus. And these changes also allow for our campus to be part of the greater community and for the community to be part of the work we do on campus. He is a strong proponent of this work, and much like our theme, he offered some mindful opening remarks last week, and we look forward to what he has to share with us today. At this time, please join me in inviting Chancellor Pembroke to offer remarks.
Thank you, Julia. I appreciate those kind words. I also want to say thank you to President Mahoney for being with us today. Thank you so much for being here. Well, welcome everyone to the 39th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Awards Ceremony. I think it is so important to recognize the work of Dr. King, and we've been doing that for almost 4 decades. I also love the fact that this ceremony is a perfect lead into February and Black Heritage Month. So I look forward to many more events in February. As President Mahoney said, some of you were probably on the call, the MLK lunch celebration that we had with Rebecca Bennett. And it was an amazing speech, an inspirational call, if you would, that she gave, and the phrase that she used, seeding a healed future, is something that I have thought a lot about since then, and the work that we can do to be part of that healing and to think about shaping a future. I also want to say thank you to all of the people that are going to be recognized today, our award recipients. Obviously, you are doing a lot. You are committed to realizing the dream of Dr. King. And I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of our community and making such a difference. I am also looking forward to seeing how our community continues to change based on the conversations that we're having. So welcome to everyone who's here today. Thank you for being a part of this. I hope you will enjoy the celebration. I'm looking forward to the music and the gospel choir. We're going to hear about the work of several individuals and recognize that work as part of our continuing reflection of where we need to be. So thank you so much, and enjoy the program.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, for those remarks. We appreciate your thoughts. We will now have our first musical selection from our SIUE Gospel Choir. While we were not able to be in person, they graciously recorded these musical selections for our ceremony today. This first selection is the No Greater Love medley by the Gospel Music Workshop of American, or the GMWA Mass Choir, performed by our SIUE Gospel Choir. With that, here's their first musical selection for you.
Jesus wins.
Thanks so much to the gospel choir for that performance. We look forward to your second one later in the program. At this time, I have the opportunity to introduce to you a special guest, our 2021 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. SIUE Student Scholarship Award winner, Mr. Armin Adkins. Armin is joining us today to share a little bit about the impact of receiving the 2021 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s SIUE Student Scholarship, his thoughts on the continuing legacy of Dr. King and seeding our healed future, as well as introducing our scholarship winner this year. His letters of support last year had so many wonderful things to say about him, and we are pleased to have him back with us today. Armin, take it away.
Thank you, Julia. I'm so happy to be here and honored to see you all in this celebration. I want to begin with my remarks by acknowledging several people in my life that have made a tremendous impact. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge God because there have been many situations in my life's journey that has seemed to try to destabilize me and take me off course. But to his glory and to the integrity of his word, he has kept me from falling. I also want to acknowledge my immediate family who is not here currently, but I love them very dearly because they have loved me so much and cared for me along the way through conversations and interactions filled with wisdom, filled with sometimes correction, but also filled with patience, filled with edification, exhortation, and comfort. I also want to acknowledge those here at SIUE. I know one individual who's here currently, Dr. Erlene Patterson. I want to acknowledge you, ma'am, and say that you have been very beneficial in my life as I've been here through SIUE. Not only her, but Mr. Cherry, also my friends here at SIUE, and also instructors. All of you have made and left a positive impact on me that I will cherish as I go into my future. I be being honored for this award has truly been humbling for me. I remember when I first received the news about the award last year. I was specifically a junior at the time. I was literally sitting in my seat in a daze of surprise and shock because I could not believe it, because it was something that I was not expecting, but also it was something that was one of many moments in 2021 that acted as points and demarcations of pushing forward, because the previous year, 2020, was very, very challenging. And I know in my personal experience, there were moments, as I said before, that were very challenging. But also as a student, the fact that you had to evolve and change on the fly, and also being patient with how things were going, while also seeing how on the TV, how things were changing in people's lives, how people were perishing at alarming rates, and to people losing their lives unjustly. And it was something, when I received this award, it kind of gave me hope. But also, with giving me hope, it revealed to me two things: that first and foremost, I was receiving free money. And not only free money, but this was the first time since been here since SIUE where I didn't have to take out a loan and have to worry about how much to pay, and also my mother chipping in on trying to figure out how to pay for it as well. But these things are not the only things that this award has showed me. Specifically, I realized that I was a part of a continuing conversation of a man's efforts and sacrifices that has transcended his own lifetime. Particularly, it's being a figurehead in a movement that was confronting the callous nature of the heart of this nation. And truly, that is breathtaking. It is truly breathtaking. And with this in mind, I choose to walk in the continuance of that legacy of following that dream. And as a form of accountability to do that, I must always periodically ask myself the following questions. First, where am I? And second, are the things within me and around me in my surrounding environment aiding to that dream? If so, I can continue forward. But if not, then it's a wake up call to change, and not only change for myself, but to also be an example to my peers and to the lives of those who are behind me watching and taking notes. And that is what Seeding the Healed Future is all about. So, in closing, I want to say thank you all again for having me back. Now I have the pleasure of awarding the 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. SIUE Student Scholarship. First, a little information about the award. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Award recognizes undergraduate students who exemplify Dr. King's teachings, principles, and philosophical beliefs. Applicants must be enrolled full-time and earned a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 and have completed at least one academic term. The student selected will receive an award of tuition for one academic semester at the Illinois rate in the upcoming fall semester after they are awarded. The scholarship is made possible by generous donors, some of whom are here with us today. I'd like to thank those donors for helping me to support me on my educational journey, and for the students, past and present, who have been recipients of this award. Thank you so much. This year, the selection committee had a very difficult time selecting the recipient. The quality of SIUE students and the work they are doing to make a difference in our community is truly profound. We should rest well knowing that these students attend this great institution. To those of you who applied, you are excellent, testament to the remarkable students here on campus. Now, one student will become this year's awardee. Let me share with you a little bit about this person. Our awardee in their personal statement mentioned the following, quote, "The riveting and wholesome and influential Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a phenomenal leader. His values and beliefs were something that no one back then ever thought would happen, but it did. It is in his persistence that attracted people to him and his vision. He believed in his vision and did not back down from it, because if he did, would it have ever happened? Blacks and whites living together as one was unheard of back then. Now we are a part of his vision, the reality we are living in today. He did it all without violence, which must have been very strenuous. What made it even better is that he kept God at the center of it all and to guide his every move. It's only crazy until it happens. Dr. King had crazy faith, and he took the chance when many others were too afraid to do what he did, to stand up for his people, but in unity and in peace, to shed a different light into the future and hope. He influenced many to stand up for what they believe in and to not give up, because change takes time. That is why I am determined to break barriers within my family and become the nurse I want to become. I will continue to bloom into what God wants me to be and bring others with me as well. And bloom they have. One supporter mentions, quoting, "The recipient serves as a resident assistant as an employee of SIUE University Housing and was selected for this role after rigorous vetting process with students, staff, and leaders of university housing. They serve as a mentor, teacher, leader to underclassmen students who are learning to transition to college life on a busy metropolitan campus. In addition, they work with upper class and family residents in our family housing area. Their flexibility, warm personality, and exceptional leadership skills assist them in being a successful resident assistant on our campus." The supporter also mentions that our awardee is, quote, "a member of the Student Nurse Achievement Program, which is known as SNAP, in the School of Nursing, and participates in peer mentoring and networking opportunities with disadvantaged and or minority Black students receiving additional support to succeed in our program." As a SNAP student, they have volunteered in fundraising activities and participated in study and tutoring sessions. In 2017, they were selected to be member of the Females of African American Descent Modeling Excellence, which is known as the FAME program here at SIUE. The FAME program is a cultural enrichment and support program for 25 first-year Black women at SIUE. Students are enrolled in freshman courses and participate in tutoring, study sessions, and cultural enrichment events. She continues to serve as a mentor to the new FAME students each year. Her commitment to the development and success of others and herself is a tribute to her character and her scholastic abilities. Another supporter adds that, quote, "I first met this student a year ago when she was enrolled at the university. Almost immediately, she established herself as a leading student in the first year orientation course that I was teaching. She was an active, regular participant in the classroom discussion and was always prompt with assignments. She scored above average on assignments, and she proved to be a leader among her peers. By the end of the academic year, she demonstrated that she was a leader and a really high-level thinker. Over the course of her short time here, she has made tremendous progress. She worked really hard to get into the nursing program. She's now in, and I couldn't be prouder. We continually discuss her as a model student, setting high goals and achieving them. I have enjoyed watching her continue to move forward and bring others along with her. As she's done so, she embodies the ideals of an emerging community worker and leader. She has a promising professional and civic careers ahead. I fully expect her to graduate SIUE with high honors and continue serving others. As you can hear, her supporters recognize not only this awardee's scholarship achievements, but her dedication to fellow students at the SIUE community and her potential to impact on others beyond this institution. It is because of this commendable behavior, I invite you now to unmute your mics turn on your cameras if they are off and join me in celebrating our 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. SIUE Scholarship Award winner, Miss Jayla Taylor.
Congratulations.
Jamie.
Congratulations, Taylor.
Congrats, honey.
Congratulations.
I didn't know.
Thank you for your enthusiasm, everyone. Jayla, if you would like, we would like for you to give a couple of minutes to share any words you wish to with our audience. Jayla.
Thank you so much, Armand, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you all for having me. Thank you for my family for being here. Thank you for all your support and your cheers for me. I truly, truly appreciate it. I'm so happy. I'm trying not to cry. Oops, sorry. First, I want to say thank you so much to everyone for being here. I'm so honored, and I want to thank you so much for all of your support. Before I go into my speech that I have, I'm sorry. Sorry. Before I go into my thank you speech, I would like to acknowledge that today I could see why MLK fought so hard. Today on campus, I was a part of a protest because there was injustice on our campus today from residents in our dormitories, and two white individuals were harassing a Black resident, and we felt as if the campus wasn't doing anything about it. So today we took a stand and we actively protested so our voices could be heard and so they could hear us and that justice is served, because it is not okay. They threatened her, and that resident still lives on campus today. And we just wanted to have a protest to make sure that she is able to be moved, or that she is removed off of campus or university housing. And if not, if that is not the decision they make, we know that God will have something for her, or that I hope he moves through her, and that way she doesn't affect anyone else on campus or any other Black individuals on campus. But I just like to share that and my movement and continuing to push for the representation of Black individuals on campus. Oh, sorry, I got a little emotional. So I have a thank you speech that I wanted to share with you all. I wanted to thank you all, everyone again, for being here. And thank you all so much for this great honor. I genuinely appreciate it so much. It is a huge help and such a blessing. First, I would like to thank God, because I would not be where I am today without him. So, he's my rock, and he's gotten me so far. I just love him so much. And I'm so grateful that he chose me to be here in this moment. I'm here for a reason, and that's why he has me here today. He has truly blessed me with this opportunity. Thank you all. And I plan to pay it forward through Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision. And I would like to thank you all again for joining and celebrating with me in this success. And I would also like to thank the scholarship committee for choosing me, because I know this was a hard decision. And I want to thank those of you who wrote me the lovely recommendation letters. I just wanted to shout you all out. Dr. P, also Dr. Popkis, Dr. Jerica Ampadu, and Professor Ramsey. Thank you all so much. I truly, truly appreciate you all. And Dr. P has been with me since day one, and she is just an amazing human being. I truly appreciate the relationship I have with her and how I've grown to know her throughout these years. So if you are graced with her presence, just know she will truly have a great impact on you and your life. And then I also want to thank everyone who has contributed to my success thus far. And most of all, I would like to thank my family, who is the most important to me and the most dearest to my heart, for your continued support and your prayers throughout this journey. I love you all so much, and I thank you. I will continue to make you all proud, I promise, because God said it's already done. And I will live by our family Bible verse, which is Proverbs 3:5-6, that states, "In all our ways, let us acknowledge him, and he shall direct our paths. He shall direct my path." And as I share this moment, this award not only belongs to me, but this belongs to you all as well. This award goes to every person that continues to fight for justice and pave the way for change. I heard a statement by someone during one of my RA trainings, and I believe he's on here. I believe it was Mr. Dorsey. And in general, he stated, "We are all the same. We just may have a different perspective about life." And that resonated with me and reminded me that no man is of lesser value than another, for we are all God's children, and we are all one in the body of Christ. It confirmed my belief that we will successfully continue to break barriers and transform this world one day at a time, one person at a time, as we all continue to grow into the person God wants us to be, without letting any hindrances of the world stop us. I was also inspired by another speaker from the first MLK event that took place last week. And they stated her name earlier. Her name was Miss Rebecca Bennett. She spoke with such power. She was such a powerful speaker, and she truly enlightened and illuminated the importance of why we fight to this day. Like I stated today, we had a protest, so we're continuing to actively protest and fight for our lives. And I would like to share this quote by her that stated, "Oppression has never been a match for a fully creative human mind and a radical imagination." And I'm going to repeat that one more time because she did in the last one, and it is so, so true. Oppression has never been a match for a fully creative human mind and a radical imagination. With this mindset, we cannot stop, and we will not stop until justice is served. We will lead in confidence and with love. I hope to continue to be a light and share my light with others and everyone who God allows in my life, along with gaining provision to lead a life of fairness and equity, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke into existence long ago. Lastly, I would like to end with a quote by Dr. King himself that says, "Don't allow anybody to make you feel like you're nobody." Thank you.
Thank you, Jayla, for your thoughts. And once again, congratulations. We appreciate your contributions to our community. I now pass to Dr. Ariel Jones, a member of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Planning Committee and assistant professor in social work program, to award our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Essay, Poetry, and Visual Arts competition winner.
Thank you, Armand, and congratulations one more time to Ms. Jayla Taylor. That was an excellent speech and just well deserved to you. Again, I'm Dr. Ariel Jones, and I would now like to share a little bit about the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Essay, Poetry, and Visual Arts competition, and then introduce you to our winner today. This award recognizes local youth who submit an essay, piece of poetry, or visual arts piece that best represents the values and ideals of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This includes delivering a piece that shows an understanding of Dr. King's call for action to defend the benefits of education for everyone. It was this year that all submissions focus on and capture the essence of Dr. King's words from his 1947 letter, The Purpose of Education. Contestants could be any middle or high schooler who is a resident of the state of Illinois, and each student was encouraged to enter only one of the three categories: essay, poetry, or visual arts. And any submitted piece was required to be an original creation and endorsed by a sponsor. I am now excited to share with you an excerpt from the contest winning essay. Our winner today is an 8th grade student from East St. Louis, Lincoln Middle School. The student loves to dance, cook, and is on the Lincoln Middle School cheer team. They shared in their essay that education can promote the enhancement of society as a whole. It develops a society in which people are enlightened of their rights and responsibilities. Dr. King offers an injunction to educators who search only to transmit knowledge and thinking skills, but fail to cultivate sympathy and virtue. At Lincoln Middle School, our teachers not only strive to ensure that each student thinks critically about the academic subjects, but also about events taking place in the real world. We have the opportunity to participate in clubs and activities that promote diversity, equity, and inclusiveness of all students. I have the pleasure to serve as a partner for the Unified Champion School of Special Olympics of Illinois for our school. Through this program, my partner and I collaborate with students across the state to develop programs and activities to implement throughout the school year to promote equity and inclusiveness for all students. This program, along with other school programs, helps inform all students, but most of all, it helps students develop empathy for others and become more understanding of others' differences. To me, this is what Dr. King was explaining in his letter. Not only are we receiving knowledge, we are learning how to use the knowledge we gain to make the world a better place. We often hear people say that education is the key to success. I would like to add that a complete education is the key to a successful society. Intelligence plus character equals complete education and produces a society that embraces diversity, strives for equity, and promotes inclusion of all its members. Perhaps with that excerpt, you can see why the selection committee chose this outstanding student. First, the committee would like to thank Ms. Latoya Sane for being an instrumental teacher for this student. And now I invite all of you here to unmute your mics, turn on your cameras if they are off, and join me in celebrating our 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Essay Competition winner, Ms. Kia Anderson.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Kia.
Well done.
All right. Thank you all for such a celebration, everyone. Congratulations once again, Kia. Thank you for sharing with us that wonderful essay. We appreciate your reflections and the works that you do in our local community. And now I pass the floor back to Julia.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, and thank you, Armand, and congratulations one more time to Jayla and Kia. What a wonderful and deserving winners. We will now have our second selection offered by the SIUE Gospel Choir today. The selection is Lift Every Voice and Sing. If you would like to join in singing today, the lyrics are being shared in a PDF via the Zoom chat at this time. Let's listen to our second Gospel Choir selection. Thank you again to the Gospel Choir for taking the time to record 2 selections for our program today. This brings us to the end of our award ceremony today and closing remarks from our Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Jessica Harris. Vice Chancellor Harris became our inaugural Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion on March 1st, 2021. Dr. Harris is an advocate for faculty, students, and staff, and community members alike. Before becoming Vice Chancellor, Dr. Harris served as the Assistant Provost for Academic Equity and Inclusive Excellence in the SIUE Office of the Provost, and has been an SIUE faculty member since 2011, where she served as an Associate Professor of Historical Studies in the SIUE College of Arts and Sciences and Director of the Interdisciplinary Black Studies Program. Vice Chancellor Harris has already begun the process of moving this campus forward with anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion efforts, and will most certainly continue this institution's journey forward into a healed future. We are so happy to have her joining us for closing remarks today. At this time, I would like to invite Vice Chancellor Harris to share those remarks.
Thank you so much, Julia. And, thank you all so much for attending this afternoon's MLK Awards ceremony. And I especially want to extend my most exuberant congratulations to the scholarship and award recipients, so well deserved. As today's event and SIUE's 2022 MLK celebration comes to a close, I think it's important to draw your attention to the words of Dr. King, because certainly that's who we are here to celebrate. And I particularly want to draw your attention to a sermon that Dr. King delivered entitled "Remaining Awake for Revolution." And as I share a portion of the sermon, I want you to think about choices, and particularly the choices that you make today that will either seed or not seed a healed future. So Dr. King gave the sermon, Remaining Awake for Revolution, at the Washington National Cathedral on March 31st, 1968. And this was just 4 days before he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. So this sermon was in fact his last Sunday sermon. In the sermon, Dr. King recalls being asked by a news reporter about his position opposing the Vietnam War, and if he was going to change his position to align with that of the administrations. And the reporter was referring to the presidential administration of Lyndon Johnson. Dr. King responded to the reporter's question by saying, quote, "On some positions, cowardice asks the question, is it expedient? And then expedience comes along and asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? There comes a time when one must take the position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but he must do it because conscience tells him it is right." One of the things that Rebecca Bennett shared with us in her keynote last week is that we are sowing the seeds of our future by the choices we make today. As SIUE and SIU broadly emboldens its commitment to anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion, I hope that we will follow Dr. King's example and choose conscience over cowardice, exercising a fierce dedication to doing what is right in our pursuit of equity and justice on campus and in the broader community. In his seminal work on the development of the Black freedom struggle in America in particular, the late historian Vincent Harding used the metaphor of a river to describe the struggle's long, continuous movement. And he wrote that, quote, "At its best, this river of struggle has moved consistently toward the ocean of humankind's most courageous hope for freedom and integrity, forever seeking what Black people in South Carolina said they sought in 1865, the right to develop our whole being." That's what this struggle, our current struggle, is about. The disruption of this hierarchy of human value that determines standing in respect, who gets the benefit of the doubt and who does not, who has access to resources and who does not, who's valued and who is not, who's treated as fully human and who is not. Navigating the river struggle is not easy. It comes with resistance and backlash, frustration, loneliness, setbacks, and disappointments. Yet, in spite of those things, we persist. History tells us that so many people before us have persisted. But why? Why did they persist, and why do we persist? We persist out of love. We persist because we hope, and we persist because we have a dream and a vision of a healed future. As Rebecca also shared last week, and Jayla reminded us of earlier, oppression has never been a match for a fully creative mind and a radical imagination. It is therefore critical that we continue to tap into the wells of our own collective imaginations and do what so many generations before us have done, and that is to dream of a more inclusive and equitable future. Even if we don't dream for ourselves, let's continue dreaming for those who will come after us. My dream for SIUE is that we are a national model of equity and excellence in higher education, that we are a place where our students, no matter who they are and where they come from, will leave this institution with a degree in their hand, not having just survived this place, but having thrived at the institution because they were cared for and valued and seen and felt a sense of belonging. where the composition of our faculty and staff not only represents the great diversity of our global community, but where people have opportunities to grow professionally, are paid equitably, and treated with dignity and respect, no matter their title, no matter if they are in Edwardsville, East St. Louis, or Alton. And lastly, my dream is that SIUE will be an institution that leverages its resources and partners with communities to address systemic inequality and improve outcomes for all. Building a legacy of equity and excellence will not happen, though, just because I hope it will, or we hope it will. It will happen only with collective and persistent striving. As we continue down this path toward SIUE's future, I invite each of you to seek out what is possible, to dream and think bigger and bolder than you ever have, and to not focus on what isn't, but put your energy into building what can be. By choosing boldness, choosing to do what is right, and choosing to seed a healed future. So with that, I thank you for being here today, and I'll now turn things over to Lindy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harris, and thank you for those closing remarks. I off the cuff, off the script, I just last week was so inspiring with Rebecca and Miss Bennett, and this program has been equally as inspiring because of the words shared today. I've been almost in tears myself. So Jayla, thank you for sharing your tears with us. Really, thank you for being you. Thank you, Kia, for your words. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to hear from all of you, all of the people who've shared remarks. Dr. Harris, your last remarks as well. So I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here and thank you for sharing. It means a great deal personally, and also, of course, I think for the campus as well, to hear the voices of those who are here. So thank you. So that does bring us to our close. Before everyone continues on with their evening, I do want to just share a couple of quick reminders. As mentioned at the top of this program, you've been hearing us hype up Miss Rebecca Bennett's keynote last week. If you did miss it, again, it is on our Hub channel. I put the link in the chat here. Strongly encourage you. It was some really wonderful, really inspiring message that she shared, which I would like, again, to reiterate was continued in the same spirit today. So thank you for those who participated. Also, I want to say that it's important to mention that our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Award is still, as we mentioned, made possible by campus and community members who do regularly support the scholarship with their donations. Those of you who have donated in the past, you've seen those donations today passed to an outstanding representative of our SIUE community. Actually, two, our past winner and our current winner. You've seen two exceptional people receive that scholarship. And we thank you for those donations that made that possible. To those of you who've maybe thought about donating or weren't sure how in the past, we do have a link that I'm dropping into the chat now as well, which did not link. So if you are interested in supporting, might have to cut and paste it, it's not working, but if you are interested in donating to that scholarship, we know that that will go towards some really phenomenal students' academic journeys. So please feel free to click on that link and donate there. We thank you ahead for those contributions. Additionally, a couple quick things I want to share, some save the dates. The Hub's Black History Month programming begins soon. The theme for this month is Black Excellence in Action, some of which you've already seen. And so we really want to celebrate and say, please join us at that opening ceremony. It takes place February 1st at 4 p.m. And I will also attempt to drop that link in this chat, and hopefully that works as well. We will see. Yes, that one worked. So please feel free to sign up there and join us at that time. It is open for campus and community. Additionally, in March, we'll celebrate Women's History Month. And in April, we'll celebrate a plethora of events, Celebrate Diversity Month, Arab American Heritage Month, Jewish American Heritage Month, and Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Heritage Month. So please be on the lookout for those events as well. I do want to say a final thank you to President Mahoney, Chancellor Pembroke, Vice Chancellor Harris for being with us today and sharing those welcome and closing remarks. Thank you, Armand and Dr. Jones, for your contributions today. Thank you, Julia, for being a gracious host. Thank you to the Gospel Choir one last time for sharing 2 selections for us and sharing those gifts and talents. And I would like to offer one last opportunity for everyone to share one big last congratulations for Jayla and Kia, if you want to share emojis and messages and claps and just wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations. It's been a pleasure hearing excerpts and hearing more about you and from you. And then to all of you here, I really hope you've enjoyed our overall Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration both last week and this week. And I hope that you also are already looking forward to what we'll have to share next year at this time as well. So I, again, wish you continued celebration, continued reflection. I hope you enter the weekend with some inspiration and energy. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I wish you adieu. So have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye.